But if you go to...
weren't allowed to be driven until the scheme about...
Susanna, the law, and you can't ride them on the pavement.
You don't want them on the pavement, but equally as a driver, you don't really want them. Feels terribly vulnerable, doesn't it? If you know, especially in busy, built-up areas.
And why don't the...
Well, helmets, that killer is going to be released on parole. Tell us why you think, even though we know that a life sentence comes with a minimum term, and of course you are then on, you know, out on, who are guilty of crimes like this, who will never be released, said the killer, who was the first, in fact, to be convicted on DNA evidence back in the 80s. She said he will always present a danger. And the sister of his first victim. It's a very, very difficult question about that split between punishment.
It is.
You know, because as we say, there are only tens of frankly decision to release convicted murderers from prison. Dr. Hillary, that's remarkable. 12,383 cases of the Indian variant which have been identified. Only 100 and out of those, as you say, 3 had received both doses. So how come even 3 who'd received both doses?
Because we know it's not 100.
Where everyone stays under restrictions, even though, as we've seen from the data, it's a blanket ban because we're being sensitive about those people who, for whatever reason, have decided not to have the jab. Patient.
Yes, and I think it's
still a proportion of NHS staff, presumably, or people working in GP surgeries who are not getting the jab. Apps to put your vaccination stating factor.
Oh, use it.
Let's use it, because that's not social care
Same
work.
applies.
Groundbreaking drug which may slow Alzheimer's disease. You experienced some jaw-dropping examples. That was called institutionally racist after a member of the public.
That's right.
And were you called, I mean, obviously it's a word we can't use. Were you called the P word amongst your colleagues? Was there any sort of motivation behind that? A racist assumption about your background? Is there any explanation for why that question? That there is still a culture of racism with ills which haven't been removed. Is that this culture needs to change, and presumably it starts from the top? Have you had meetings with Cressida Dick about...
Hello, good morning. It's just gone 6:30. Welcome to the programme. I don't know how you react when somebody parks across your drive. Do you have a drive?
No.
You don't? Oh, OK. Well,
no, I live
then it's not an issue.
in a busy London street where it's hard to park at all.
OK. Well, I'm up in leafy North London. We've got a drive, right? And when somebody parks outside the site, you know, you drive there.
Is this another Dominic Cummings expose? Has he parked across
it's
someone's
better than
drive?
that. This is better than Dominic Cummings testing his eyesight. This is Barnard Castle at the weekend.
To drive anymore, sir.
I suppose we shouldn't laugh. I suppose it's a criminal act, but it is quite funny.
Is it because Barnard Castle has become particularly popular? Are tourists racing there in their thousands in their car? Is that the idea?
I don't know, but maybe you should go on your electric scooter.
They're a menace.
There are many of them
in busy London streets.
Yes,
they are a menace.
Nearly knocking one over.
I'm very confused by the rules about electric scooters because I thought they were e-scooters, but there are plenty of them.
You risk this happening. You get towed.
That may just be the first.
Yes.
In many that truck driver is going to be.
Have you had a close encounter with one of these things? Because I have. I was only not. Don't get me started on scooters.
To be honest, they are a good idea as an alternative to cars. That's the idea, isn't it? That they're the green revolution, the green future.
Still got to charge them up.
Yes, that's true. But I do think there's an enormous danger around them. Andrew and Kevin. And we will be speaking to a barrister who is going to defend, the fact that sometimes we do have some rules. I think the social distancing, mask wearing, all of these things are vital. It's just that I'm sensing an impatience to get it.
Oh, no.
We're going to talk to you a little bit later on about this. There is fantastic news about a breakthrough on announcement. Still to come on the programme. He says he's spent far too much time in his house this.
Welcome back. 2 minutes to 7. Time for the competition. And Andy, again, has details of how you could win a prize that together combined is worth just over £100,000.
Good luck. It is 7 o'clock. Palm Sandhu rose to become Chief Superintendent with the Metropolitan Police, and no other ethnic minority woman in the force's history has reached that level. But she has accused the Met of institutional racism after 30 years of service with the force.
Well, she's written a memoir. It's called Black and Blue, One World Prejudice. It's published this week. It's a jaw-dropping read. I was flicking through it last night. The examples are just traffic stopping. It's extraordinary. You'd think it had sort of gone in the modern policing world, but it hasn't. It's absolutely terrible. She recounts her journey through the ranks, some of the extraordinary cases that she covered. She was on duty. Well, we'll come to this actually in the interview, but we're going to speak to her in a second. Now then, in a statement, we've obviously spoken to them. The Met Police say that they have made no admissions of liability in respect of the allegations that are made in this book. And before her retirement, Palm was a very senior operational leader, they say. They say we are saddened by her decision to make such personal allegations in the media. The Met apparently have not seen a copy of this book pre-publication and therefore wasn't asked about that. The Commissioner's strong record as a senior police leader dedicated to improving police legitimacy and to improving trust and confidence in their approach to diversity and equality, says the Met, speaks for itself. And they also add that we know too many colleagues of all backgrounds will have faced challenges at times in their careers and the treatment they consider unfair or unkind. Where discrimination exists, we root it out. And we will continue to do so. That's their statement. That's not your experience.
No.
So, lots more still to come on a very busy show. You're watching Good Morning Britain on ITV.
See you in a moment.
Good morning, Britain. It's just coming up to 20 minutes past 7.
Oh, dear. Our main news, that is late, Charlotte, isn't it?
I think that probably beats the way.
Our main news this morning, a second England cricketer is being investigated over historical offensive social media posts.
Yeah, now this obviously comes after the bowler, Ollie Robinson, was suspended from all international cricket pending the outcome of a disciplinary investigation into his offensive posts that he sent in 2012 and 2013, one has to say when he was a teenager. Our correspondent, Jonathan...
So, 22 minutes past 7, here's Charlotte with the rest of the